talk show host in the business. Unbossed, unbought, and unafraid. Now, see, and again, there's a process here. If you are a business of African descent, then you have to get properly situated so that when we get this legislation in part, and really you can take benefit now, but we are going to increase the opportunity by this legislation. But in order to get benefit, what you got to do is you got to get certified. And again, I went through the process or the application or workshop yesterday, and it's not that difficult. You can work your way through that. And if you are interested in working your way through that, inbox me on Facebook so that we can have another workshop. And they got other workshops coming up. And okay, this one was, what was that? Today is February. So February 26th is when they had the certification workshop over at the library in Hallville. They have another one coming up April the 15th. It doesn't say where that's at. Inbox me. In fact, I'm going to call them and gets the location on that so that we can get properly situated. What are you saying, Sabay? The infamous we tried escape clause commonly used to excuse them from addressing inequities. I hear you. Linda Lewis, great Councilman Monroe. I agree with both of you. And Monroe is to be supported. In fact, I'm giving him a hand now. And wherever you ought to give him a hand because he is standing for the people. You know, we got too many politicians who stand for the party, and even when the party stands against the people. We need politicians that will stand with the people, for the people, by the people, and when they do, we need to embrace them as the people. Monroe! Brother, you are right with me. So I'm saying that it is time for us to get together and claim our rightful place in the world order of things. And so he's putting that legislation in. Now, see, if you were listening to Community Connections on yesterday, Maggie Lewis and a couple of other city county council people who I don't know, a couple of white women, were on that program yesterday. And what they're trying to do is they're saying that if you make businesses owned by people of African descent, what you're doing is just setting up a quota. See, that is a well-dressed lie. We're not going to use that language. We know that if you use that language, then you come in adversity with the law. No, we're not talking about a quota. We're talking about a set-aside, and language is very important. What does the law say? See, this Office of Minority Women and Business Development, it says businesses, if you're to qualify to be with their office, if you're going to qualify that, and I hate to use the word minority because we're not a minority. And we need to quit letting them lump us in that. That's where our politicians got to come in and say enough. Oh, and I didn't even say this. I talked to Hogsett. I talked to the mayor. And he said that if the legislation gets past the council, then he'd put his signature on it. He'd make it city law. We got to keep the pressure on all of them. And see, I took the language down to his office. I took a copy of the language and I put it in, I had the secretary put it in Monroe's box down at the City County Council. I had the secretary put copy of the language in VOP's box, and I'm getting ready to send the mayor, and that was an interesting situation. When I went down there to the 25th floor, they told me that I couldn't leave the language with the police officer out front. I had to take it to the 21st floor. And when I took it to the 21st floor, to the mayor's action center, the lady looked at me like, why are you bringing this down here? I'm telling you, I'm unbought. You are listening to the most truthful talk show host in the business. Unbought, unbossed, and unafraid. Yeah, I'm telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the butt-naked truth. The mayor told me that he would sign the legislation. Monroe told me that he would craft the legislation. Vop Osley told me that he was going to give Monroe and give the language that I had given both of them to the legal counsel that would draw up the legislation, so all the I's would be dotted and the T's would be crossed. And now we need to hold them accountable to where it's that they quit defining us as a minority and let us be who we be. So when you're talking about that definition, they say that definition comes from the certification standards based on federal regulations 49 CFR Part 26. What does that say? See, they'll try to say, oh, you can't do it because federal law won't let us do it. That is a well-dressed lie, and we need to pull the clothes off of that. This program is designed and dedicated to pulling the clothes off of well-dressed lies. We ain't going for that. Look, I looked up 49 CFR Part 26. Oh, Ajabu, did you do? Yeah, I did. See, if we're going to be in this game, we got to be in this game informed. We just can't be going through what somebody tells us and see them city county councilors for some reason. I don't know why they don't want people of African descent to get what is rightfully ours. Or do I know? Is racism still live and in living color? Yes, but the question that I have is why do the people that we are elected of African descent that look like you and look like me, why would they continue to promote a position that they know is racist on its face, racist in its implication, and not to our benefit? No, do not put the party ahead of our people. Otherwise, watch this now, wait for it. If you put the party and not to our benefit, and be more loyal to the party instead of our people, then you are a traitor to our people. Are y'all listening to me? I'm telling you, you listening to the most truthful talk show host in the business. Unbought, unbossed, and unafraid. What does the federal law say? 49 CFR Part 26. It says DBE, disadvantaged business enterprise, are for-profit small businesses concerns where socially and economically disadvantaged individuals own at least 51% interest and also control management and daily business operatives. Who are these disadvantaged business enterprises? They are African Americans, they are Hispanics, they're Native Americans, they're Asian Pacific and subcontinental Asian Americans, and women are presumed to be socially and economically disadvantaged. This is straight out of the law. Now, see what Indianapolis has done is it's taken everybody except women and it's lumped us all together and it called us a minority. Well, BS. That's not what the federal law says. That's what you have done. That's not what the federal law says. That's what you are doing. It needs to stop. And again, Monroe is saying that he will represent the people and get that legislation crafted. VOP has said that he will get with Monroe. We have to get with the whole council to get the legislation to the mayor, who says that he will sign it. Now, if the mayor really wants it to roll, he can craft the legislation and give it to the council and tell them that he wants this passed. We don't care if it comes from the top down or from the bottom up. We're saying the goal is that we need to get what is rightfully ours. And see, when you look at that at least 15%, which is the percentage by that the city has set aside. If you look at that is at least $166 million. That's $500 for every man, woman, and child, if equally divided, of African descent in Marion County. What are you saying, Sabay? What? A quota? The word has been used historically as a trick of language to defeat affirmative action and other equity efforts to weaken our progress, or to be used as a well-dressed lie. Girl, you done told the truth. You done stripped the clothes off of that well-dressed lie. And we need to keep stripping the clothes off of that well-dressed lie. We need to make our city, county councilors accountable to whereas that they are not afraid to be unbossed and unafraid of the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the butt-naked truth. No, we're not talking about no quota. We're talking about a set-aside. And the federal law uses that language itself. In fact, it says that if you got gold language and you're not making the gold, then you need to change your law so that it is a set-aside. Sometimes this stuff makes me want to holler. What is the certification by the 49 CFR Part 26? I'm reading straight from the law. This ain't what Ajabu said. This is what is said by the law. What does the law say? It says certification criteria. This ain't what a disadvantaged business, disadvantaged business enterprise. One, the person that owns it, their personal worth cannot exceed $1.32 million. Okay. Two, the business's gross income cannot exceed $23.98 million, about $24 million. Okay. Three, the business has to have have to be 51% owned by a person of African descent, or a Native American, or an Asia Pacific and subcontinental Asian, or a woman. See, why is it that the woman can have her own separate category, which is a white woman, but they want to lump all the rest of us together? They want to dilute our identity. No, we're saying no more of that. And this legislation will rectify that to where it's that we have our own category. And then finally, the law, 49 CFR Part 26 says that in order to be certified, you have to meet this criteria, that your business is independent of any other company, meaning that you can't be a front for a business owned by a white male. So when you talk about the price that has been paid in this country, how they have disadvantaged us socially and economically, nobody has paid the price that we paid. Enslaved. No ethnic group in America has been enslaved, but except for people of African descent. None of have them have been hung from trees, to my understanding, like we were hung from trees. And finally, 200 years later, the lynching law has become a federal crime. When lynching has stopped. See, that's the same thing that Bloomberg did. After stop and frisk is stopped, I want to apologize. Why didn't you apologize when you found out and when people were telling you that the impact was going to be disproportionate on people of African descent? In fact, it was you that in your own words, that is reported in the media saying that if you want to know what a criminal looks like, look at a black man. Bloomberg and Bobby Rush, how you standing with this cat? Yeah, it's good that you are pushing and have pushed the legislation after 200 years to make lynching a federal crime. Why is it that they always want to do something for us, Johnny come lately? No, we're talking about our elected officials got to get on the ball. And you got to be bouncing. You can't be the ball that they bounce. It's time for us to stand up and stand together. And there is a push. And Marshawn, again, man, I'm lifting up your name because you have stood. African American Coalition Indianapolis, I'm lifting up your name. You have stood to say enough. Tony Mason. Watch out, brother. That brother, they tried to play games with that brother when some preachers was standing with Rick Snyder, and Snyder was talking about keeping our youngsters and our people in jail for longer lengths of time. Tony, and they tried to play games. I'm telling y'all, buckle up. Some of y'all can't handle the truth. They tried to play games. They had the press conference, then they put out a press release that the follow-up meeting was going to be over at the Urban League, and it was supposed to be that Monday, and that Monday Fox News was reporting that meeting was going to be over at the Urban League, and they knew that Tony said, nah, y'all can't bring that over here. Y'all ain't talk to us about that, and we don't support trying to incarcerate the city out of this problem that we're having with murder. Tony Mason is it Anthony Mason? Whoever it is, y'all know who it is, the president of the Indianapolis Urban League. He is to be embraced. He's still with our people, and that's what I'm talking about. He's with the coalition of African American, the African American Coalition of Indianapolis. That we're trying to bring this together, and it's not a smooth road. There's some differences, but those differences are held behind closed doors. And when we agree on what we have worked out behind closed doors, then we come out as a unified front. We don't need to air our differences out in the public's eye, and we're going to have differences. When you have differences, that means that people are standing up. Yes, he did stand. You Sabay girl, you on top of it. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And he's continued to stand. And we need to stand with him so that he's not standing by himself. And I'm telling you, there is a movement. Yes, he did. And he's and it's growing. I done told you that they looking at us in South Bend, and they want to follow the leadership. Henry Davis Jr., who sits on the Common Council in South Bend, has saying give him the leadership because he will file it in South Bend at the same time that it's filed here in Indianapolis, so it makes it a statewide issue. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? We stripping the clothes off of these well-dressed lives. We ain't no minority. We're people of African descent. Don't be calling us no minority. We're people of African descent. Now, we've got to go forward to make things happen. You know, so those are the things that I wanted to tie down. We've got to go make things happen. To make things happen. You've been listening. The elder Mmoja Ajabu. Those are the things. Your host for After Naked Truth. Unbossed, and unafraid of the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the butt naked truth. We've got to stay on the city county councilors. When I get the legislation from Monroe, I'll be coming back to report so that y'all understand what the language is, to make sure that it's not compromised and watered down, so that we stay with the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the butt naked truth. You ready?
This is not a test.
If you listen to this program, you're going to get the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the butt naked truth. This program is X-rated.
You ready? You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
You are now tuned in to the world's most honest talk show host, the elder Mmoja Ajabu.